Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today, guys, we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, taking a look at what's been going on, so far in terms of the price action, what I think is going to happen this weekend, and what might happen as we go into next week. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Stay up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Okay, so let's take a look and let's review what's been going on in the last 24 hours. It's pretty much the same kind of consolidation, the kind of sideways trading, the continuation pattern that we've seen here with BTC. We're kind of coiling ourselves up into another ranging area. So let's go and focus in on that just a second here. So as you can see, we had this higher area here at 17,190. We've got a dash line in there. If I throw another dash line just down here, let me just go ahead and make this yellow so that you can see it. We've essentially got two areas here, right? We've got the 17,190 high zone, and we've got this low range down here at 16,181, right? So basically we're stuck between these two areas. And if we zoom out, we can also see that we're stuck between two slightly higher ranges down here as well at 15,597 through to the slightly higher range at the top as well. Okay, and again, this comes in at about 18,190. So you can see that we're kind of stuck inside these kind of consolidating ranging patterns, right? And these are usually quite a concern because a lot of retail investors are going to get trapped out thinking that the market's going in one direction, when yet essentially the market is continuing to range and it's continuing to kind of consolidate down in here. Now, from the kind of perspective that we have here, we are still kind of thinking about our 13,207. And basically this is a big three-wave structure to the downside, 1, 2, and 3 coming down towards that range, right? We can kind of see it in there. Okay, and so this is kind of one of the bigger kind of macro pieces that I think is something that's probably going to play out on the 8-hour chart. And then of course from here I think we get the break to the upside, and it should be a pretty significant one at that. Now on the flip of that, inside these little ranging areas, we still have the possibility of the 18,467. It's not invalidated, and there's still possibilities of that playing out. But as time progresses, we keep having to flip between these two scenarios because as we continue to range here, our momentum indicator shifts from oversold to overbought as the market tries to decide which way to go. So at the moment, we're still no clearer as to whether or not this is going to break up or break down on the smaller time frames. I am confident, though, that we are likely to see some downward price pressure towards the $13,000 before we actually get that chance of a break to the upside. And this comes because we have stochastic RSIs that are the opposite way around on the daily and 8-hourly. There's only a 2-hour difference between these two time frames, yet we're oversold on the daily chart and overbought on the 8-hour chart. This is quite unusual. We don't normally see this kind of level of difference between those two time frames. So here you can see that we're overbought on the 8-hour, yet we're down here in the oversold area on the daily. So for such a sort of difference between these time frames, I mean, not 2 hours, obviously, it's actually a lot more than that, but essentially it would be unusual to think that we can rally up whilst being so overbought on that 8-hour time frame. Now I can of course come up into our 12-hour, and that shows us up in the overbought area as well. So as we kind of go through and we can kind of step into these, if I come in here and actually just decide to add in a couple of additional ones, let's go ahead and check out, let's say, a 16-hour chart. Let's see where that sits on here. Yeah, we're overbought as well. So like as we kind of step towards that area of that daily chart where it's oversold, there's actually a lot of overbought charts in between. So I'm not confident in thinking that we're going to rally until we've kind of come down to that $13,000 level. So I do think that that's where we're going. The only thing that we should be kind of concerned with essentially here is whether or not we are going to break up before we do it, as in are we going to hit that $18,500 range before we start to move on down. I'm not so sure. So this is one of those things that we have to be really, really cautious on. Now, as we kind of go back into these kind of smaller time frames here, we can kind of acknowledge a couple of things. Again, we've got a couple of little areas just in here that we might break up from. Just here on the smaller time frame, we can obviously see that this is, let me grab hold of that. This here is completed a 3-wave move to the downside. So if we go ahead and complete a 3-wave move to the upside, then maybe we here go into another three-wave drop to the downside, and so forth. So you can see how we continue to range. We also have this one over his side as well, and all of that might then actually get wrapped up in a side of a bigger kind of three-wave structure like so, right? So we have to kind of be cautious that there's a lot of things that are going on inside Bitcoin that essentially sometimes it's just worth not trading, not participating, and wait for the market to decide what range is going to actually play out and which range is not. So as we have this 16,181 just down here, this low dash line, and we've got the 17,190, when we break one of those lines, we'll know that there's a direction that is forming, and we should potentially keep an eye on that. But for now, we are kind of ranging, so there isn't terribly too much more that we can kind of do here other than kind of just sit back and wait, don't participate, and see how it kind of goes. Now, I am obviously in the hotel room again today, so the audio is a little bit off. I'll be back at the studio tomorrow, so I'll have a lot more data at my fingertips. I'll have all the wallet counts again. I'll be able to see who's moving on and off exchanges, and see if that's going to highlight anything major to us. So we'll be streaming on Twitch tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. So do join us for that. We'll go through all the data that we've been missing out on in the last couple of days as we've been away with 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗘𝗧𝗧. So do watch out for that. But for now, I'll leave this video right there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, tap the bell, select all those notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.